I've decided to tackle the fuel tank. It's been painted, thankfully in like a better condition than the rest of the bike, interestingly. You can see the original paint on the bottom, like a metallic red, and then some effort has gone into actually painting this tank. Doesn't look half bad. I gave it a bit of a shake and there were some bits inside. The inside looks pretty good. It's not rusty or anything, so I'm not too concerned about that, but it did have a few little bits floating about in there, so I just gave it a shake. And a little data tag popped out, probably from a previous owner from long ago. I've taken the petcock off. That is over here, but it's pretty bad. Look, the fuel has pretty much eaten into this brass tube. Again, this was painted. Everything's painted. This is knackered. I mean, I'm going to replace this. There's no point trying to clean this up. I remember on the Bandit, the petcock on that had like a little rubber diaphragm and stuff in it, so you could buy little service kits for it. But this one, there's not really anything. It's just a tube, no filter or anything. I think the filter goes in line on the fuel lines on this bike, but you can actually buy petcocks that have a little filter on the tube as well, so I'm probably going to do that. They're not very expensive. I've already checked if I can actually get hold of one. I made that mistake with the Bandit. I actually used the rust remover stuff in the tank, but that ate through the metal. I think the petcock was made of zinc, and it just completely dissolved it. And I was like, no big deal, I'll get another one. And then they turned out to be like £100. So that was pretty rubbish. So I am going to get some paint stripper on this guy, and yeah, see how it goes. Basically, it's just going to be the same process as what I'd done with the other engine casings. Not the ones I wire wheeled, but the what are they called? Cylinder head tops. Oh, that reminds me. Before I get started on that, I got some of this rust remover. I thought this was the powdered one that you mix up to make a solution. It's not. It's actually like I guess it's like a paint consistency, and you put it on, and it sort of changes the color of the metal. Apparently, leave it for 24 hours, and it becomes a surface that is ready for sort of finishing coats, which is pretty interesting. There's no sight on this at all of the rust anymore. It's just completely coated it with this new, I don't really know what it is. It's almost like a paint, but not quite. Really interesting. I've not used that one before. I didn't even know it existed. I kind of bought it by accident. Anyway, right, tank. I'm gonna get some stripper on this, and hopefully it all goes well. I don't know whether to like score the lacquer on this first so the stripper can get through to the paint, or whether I should just leave it. I might give it a bit of a scuff and then do it. I think that might give it a better chance to eat into the paint, so I'll do that first. There we are. That is the first coat of paint stripper on the tank. Kind of felt bad scuffing up the paintwork, to be fair. I mean, it wasn't bad. It's just not really the style I'm going for. I sort of want to do I'd like to take the tank to like an airbrush artist and get something like a nice design put on it. So I've got a few ideas in mind, haven't made a final decision yet, but that is the first coat of paint stripper on this tank. I can smell it working already. You know that smell of like a clear coat lacquer? It's that solvency smell. that is really quite strong coming off of this. So I'm not going to sit by it for too much longer. Otherwise I might end up on the floor. So yeah, I am going to let that do its thing. Probably going to take, I don't know, an hour or so. I forget how long it says. What does it say? It says leave for approximately an hour, come back and do another coat, and then leave for, I didn't say, till it's done, I guess. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I mean, I've done it with the other two engine casings. That came out really nice. It was a hell of a lot easier than trying to use you know, the wire brush. I really don't want to use that on the tank because I've done that before, and the amount of sanding I had to do to get the scratch marks out was just painful. I don't want to do it again. So I am going to let this do its job, and then I will see you again when it's done. So it's only just occurred to me that I've not actually filmed any footage of actually stripping the paint off of the part. It's just been putting it on and then showing you the finished thing. So I've got the tank here. It's sort of been wrinkling up all day, so I've just got home. It looks like not all of it is probably gonna come off in one go. This top bit definitely coming off. This side is looking pretty good. So I am going to take this into the garden now, because that's where my hose pipe is. I've got a little scouring pad. I could really do like a good Scotch-Brite pad, but I don't have one. So I'm going to take this into the garden and set the camera up and see how much paint comes off this thing. That sort of went to plan, but not really. There's a lot of layers underneath this tank. It clearly wasn't painted by the same guy who painted the rest of the bike. I mean, you can kind of tell that from the quality of it, but you can see I've got it down to, like, I think this is the white base layer primer, and that on top of the original red paint. So yeah, I think it's either going to need a couple more coats of paint stripper, in which case I'm going to have to get more paint stripper. Alternatively, I can take it to the same place that I'm going to take the frame to get that sandblasted. I think maybe the sandblasting is probably the easiest solution, because I don't really then have to deal with it. Because looking at this, that paint stripper has gone through a layer of lacquer, a layer of paint. It's going to have to get through that primer, and then it's going to have to get through, I assume, another layer of factory lacquer and factory paint, possibly primer if they used it. That's quite a lot of layers of sort of finished material, and especially because they've been on there for like 31 years, something like that. Yeah, it's gonna ask a lot of my paint stripper, I think, especially because it's just cheap and cheerful stuff. So I think what I'll probably do is I'll put a little bit on an area of that tank now with that just exposed. I didn't bother rinsing it because I knew I'd probably either have to put more on. So I'll put a little bit on, see what happens. If it comes off really easily and takes it down to the, if it's enough and it takes it down to the bare metal, then I'll probably do the lot. If it doesn't and it still looks like it's going to be a pain, maybe I'll just chuck it in with the frame when I get that shot blasted, and then, you know, that way it's all done. So it's been a few days. I finally got the frame back from the sandblasting guy. The welds are pretty rubbish on the back here where it's been done. Obviously you can see that now, all the paint's off and all the rust is gone. Subframe's looking all right, it's not too bad. I'm going to hardtail this one, I've decided, so most of this is going to get chopped out anyway, so that's not really too much of an issue. I spent a lot of time last night just trying to shake the sand out of all the holes and stuff. It's all inside there, but it's not too bad. I'm probably going to wait until I end up chopping these tubes because I feel it'll be a lot easier just pour it out. One issue we did come across though is with the tank. The paint stripper I had just was not getting through that primer that was on there, so I just gave it to the guy and he stripped the paint off. The main problem though was this area here. If you can see, this is a big dent and that was not there before, and he sent me a photo that this had been filled with like body filler and then painted over. To be fair, it'd been the filler had done a really good job. Like, it could have fooled me that there was no dent there to begin with. It looked pretty good. So I'm going to have to do the same and fill that back. This otherwise has come out pretty good. I'm probably going to have to, I don't know, stick a vacuum in there or run some water through it or something like that, just to get all that blasting medium out. But yeah, the frame's done. I'm still waiting on some parts to be able to hardtail it and stuff and do some modifications, like the weld-in battery box I'm going to put down here. These are obviously going to get chopped. These are going to get chopped and then linked together with the hardtail tubes. But other than that, this is sort of ready for sort of fabrication now. So this will probably come as a shock to absolutely nobody. I've been a complete idiot with this metal filler that I've got. I've probably had this for I don't know, 6-7 years, something like that. But the instructions say it's a 2-component metal filler with the putty and the hardener in here. It does say mixing ratios, equal % of each component, and the example it gives is for half of the tub, use half of the tube. And I was, for the longest time, I was like, well, I'm not going to use half the tub. How am I supposed to work out how much of the tube I need to use? Not once did it occur to me to actually use my brain and stick it on a set of scales. So basically what I'm doing is turn on the scales, stick a bit of card on there because I don't want to get stuff all over it. Yeah, and then just weigh out a load of the filler and then weigh out half the same amount, well, half the amount in hardener. And it's when I do stuff like that, and I think, I mean, I'm an absolute idiot. Like, why didn't I do that in the first place? That's clearly what you're supposed to do. Not, I mean, take a guess. I mean, I have been guessing, and it's been pretty fine. I mean, nothing has not worked or cured. I've probably used way too much hardener per the putty that I was supposed to use, but I mean, it's fine. Anyway, I'm going to weigh this out, weigh the hardener out. Don't really know how much I need, so I'm just going to start with a small amount and then go from there, really. Mix it up. I'll probably go with, I don't know, that's probably enough for now. I don't want to do too much. I really don't want to have this huge lump struggling to cure on the tank, so I'd rather do a couple of stages of sort of thin. Right, that's 23 grams, so I need to now do like what, 11 and a half. So why can't I just, right, equal, what does it say? It says equal percentage. I don't know how much is in here. 15 grams. How much is in here? 250. Right, so it's not 11 grams, is it? Because half of this would be 7.5 grams. Half of this would be 125 grams. This is in grams, this is in milliliters. I've got to do some maths. Okay, so I had to go on the internet for this one. My brain doesn't work great. So, 250 ml of putty, 15 grams of hardener. So the calculation is, percentage-wise, 15 grams of hardener, equate that to about 15 milliliters as well, just for ease. 15 grams of hardener divided by 250 ml of putty is 0.06 grams of hardener per milliliter of putty. Now, I'm using 22 grams of putty here, so that's 0.06 times 22 grams is 1.38 grams of hardener for the amount of putty I've got here. I'm going to have to write that down somewhere, so I know for next time, so I don't have to work it out. 0.06 grams per milliliter of anything that I put on the scales. That is how you work out the percentage ratios. So I'm going to get this mixed up now, and then we'll slap some on the tank. There's a filler on. It wasn't as deep as I thought, so I managed to get it all on in one go. Yeah, it's slightly proud of the tank, so I can sand that back, so it shouldn't be too bad. It's not the prettiest. It's not the prettiest filler spread job I've ever done, but yeah, I'm going to give that a few hours, however long it takes. I'm not sure. Maybe just leave it a whole day. Just leave that alone for now, and then I'll come back to that when it's all done and sandable. Alright, given the filler a while, it's pretty much hard now. I can stick my fingernail in it, it doesn't do anything. So it's quite a thin layer, so I think that's hardened pretty quick. I'm just going to grab a few bits of sandpaper. I've only got one grade of sandpaper, which is 70. And then, but I do have some old, what are they called? I had like a sander thing with the band sandpaper. So I've got a few of them of different grades. So I'm going to sand off the first grade as much as I can, or as much as I need to, I should say, and then go a few grades once it's done. If there's any low spots, I'll know, because I'll be able to fill them after that, once I've got it all down to surface level again. So I'm going to do that now, and then see if that needs any further filler. There we go. I mean, there's a couple of low spots, tiny ones that I need to just stick some filler in, but otherwise that's not too bad for a first sanding. I've tried to keep all the scratches in the same direction, just so it's more uniform when I come to priming it. There's a tiny low spot here, few little tiny dots there, and then a little divot here just need to fill out, but other than that, that's looking pretty good. Just stuff this in here, just try and keep some of the dust out. I don't think that's really worked though, but yeah, very dusty. Obviously, sanding metal filler, wear your mask. This stuff is nasty, you don't want to get this in your lungs. So yeah, I'm going to stick a bit more filler on and then leave that to cure, sand it off again, and hopefully that will be this pretty much ready for primer.